Today I messed up when I learned the language my girlfriend speaks when she gossips with her friends. Posted by you/good surprise gone bad. My 25M girlfriend, 22F, is South African, and her native language is Afrikaans. I've been secretly learning Afrikaans without her knowing. I enrolled in online courses, which I've been using on and off for over a year. My plan was to surprise her and her family with my American Afrikaans when I meet her parents in person for the first time later this year. I never intended to eavesdrop, but learning Afrikaans in secret unintentionally exposed me to sensitive information that my girlfriend shared on the phone with her Afrikaans-speaking friends from South Africa. It was gossip I wasn't supposed to understand, but over time, I did. Here's what I've overheard in the past few months. My girlfriend is planning to surprise me on my birthday by reuniting with her high school metal band and putting on a show for me. She wants to tattoo the names of literally all the Harry Potter spells on her back but doesn't know how to tell me because she's afraid I'll talk her out of it. She casually mentioned that one of the unexpected differences between her glasses and contact lenses is that when she's on her knees looking up at me with her glasses on, my willy looks much bigger compared to what it looks like through her contact lenses. This is why she keeps her glasses on during segs. Ouch. She's convinced that my parents are swingers because, apparently, there are always attractive couples hanging out at my mom and dad's house whenever we visit. She secretly finished the entire series of Better Call Saul without me, even though we agreed to finish it together, so now she's pretending she has no idea how the show ends. She's thinking about canceling the high school metal band reunion for my birthday because she's no longer sure if it's appropriate to team up with two of her exes, who are original members of the band. She expects her dad not to like me. Honestly, I would have preferred not knowing most of this, but there's no way to unlearn Afrikaans. Now I'm cursed with knowing too much while having to pretend I know nothing. Update 4 months later. The following happened since my original post. 1. I asked my girlfriend to marry me in Afrikaans, and she said, ja. 2. I delivered my "I want to spend the rest of my life with you" speech in Afrikaans, which surprised and impressed my girlfriend, now my fiancée. 3. As soon as my girlfriend became my fiancée, I casually mentioned that I had secretly been learning her native language and had unintentionally been eavesdropping on several phone conversations she had with her Afrikaans-speaking friends about things I wasn't supposed to understand. 4. My fiancée was embarrassed when she realized how much Afrikaans I was able to understand and apologized if she had made me feel uncomfortable. 5. I accepted her apology, even though it was unnecessary, well, except for finishing Better Call Saul behind my back. That was playing with fire in our relationship, almost unforgivable. 6. My fiancée got one of the Harry Potter spells on her back, Erecto Patronum. I'm kidding, I stole that from another story. My fiancée is still considering getting her back tattooed. I told her it was her choice, but I advised her to avoid covering her entire back with Harry Potter spells like she's some kind of Death Eater Michael Scofield. 7. My fiancé might be right about her dad not liking me because his expression of disappointment and dread when he heard the news of our engagement was priceless. That said, I'll win him over, though, even if it kills him. Jokes. 8. My fiancé fully believes my parents are swingers based on the different couples she's occasionally observed coming and going whenever we visited my mom and dad. She wants us to investigate because, for some reason, it's fun for her to imagine me being the son of parents whose sex life is far kinkier than mine. I'm not interested in opening that door because I don't want to know what goes on in my mom and dad's bedroom. However, something tells me my fiancé will not rest until she has all the answers. 9. I made it clear to my fiancé that I had no problem with her reuniting with her high school band to perform at my birthday, unless it was uncomfortable for her that her exes were part of the band. My fiancé ultimately decided to cancel the band because of behind-the-scenes drama. The drummer, who was one of the exes, had apparently gained a lot of weight after high school and lost all confidence to perform in the band. The lead guitarist, the other ex, was only willing to participate if my fiancé agreed to play covers of gospel songs since he was now saved and no longer interested in playing the devil's music. The bass guitarist wanted money. 10. My fiancé still wears her glasses during sex. Second update 17 months later. Last time I was here, I shared an update related to my original post, but I deleted that update because I was excited to tell the internet, aka all of you, that my girlfriend and I got engaged. However, since then, not only have we gotten unengaged, but we've actually broken up. In my original post, my ex-girlfriend, who was still my girlfriend back then, had a wild theory that my mom and dad were swingers just because they always had people at their house. I never believed it, but I thought it was hilarious that someone thought my parents were that interesting. Not gonna lie, I struggled to move on after the relationship ended. My apartment had too many memories of my ex, so I called my parents to ask if I could stay with them for a bit to clear my head. They said yes. My dad even offered to pick me up, which I accepted. What should have been a 10-minute drive unexpectedly turned into a 45-minute one because my dad decided to take the long route back to their house. When he was done making dad jokes to help me get over my breakup, he started doing that weird dad thing where he's trying to bring up an awkward topic but finds it too uncomfortable to just spit it out. Instead, he ends up saying a bunch of words only he understands. I had to interrupt him and basically beg him to make sense. That's when my dad said that since it was unclear how long I was planning to stay, he felt compelled to prepare me for what I might see at the house. If my ex had been there at that moment, she would have punched me on the shoulder and said, "I freaking told you," because my dad went on to confirm her swinger theory. This meant it was no longer a theory but the truth, or as I like to call it, trauma. By the time we finally made it to the house, my dad had made sure I knew everything I needed to know. I even made a list based on what I learned from him. 1. Both my parents were swingers when they met. 2. Swinging was not something they wanted to do while raising kids, so it was off limits when they became parents. 3. To see if they still got it, my parents returned to swinging once they had the house to themselves again. Spoiler alert, they still got it. 4. Hosting swinger parties became something they did frequently, usually with themes. 5. My parents were planning to host another swinger party soon, but my mom was considering canceling it so I could stay for as long as I wanted. 6. If they canceled, it would be the first swinger party they called off since COVID. 7. The theme for the upcoming party was prom night. I never expected my dad to go so hard in the too much information category, but once he crossed that line, he let it all out. I stayed with my parents for a total of 2 days before it became abundantly clear that while knowledge might be power for some people, for me, knowledge was punishment. My mom, who had no idea I low-key knew she was swinger mom, tried to convince me to stay longer, and she almost succeeded, but I was done with my dad using our father-son bonding time to play guess which one of our neighbors are also swingers. I used an Uber to get back to my apartment. No more dad rides. I've never been so happy to return to a place haunted by my failed relationship. Up on why the relationship ended. My ex and I broke up because of a tattoo. Her friend passed away, which prompted her to get his name tattooed on the back of her neck. The friend was someone my ex had slept with before she met me. I made it clear to her, prior to the tattoo, that I understood it was her body and she could do whatever she wanted. However, as someone who was prepared to be with her forever, it would be uncomfortable for me to see another guy's name on her body for the rest of our lives, especially the name of a deceased man she had casual sex with. My ex got the tattoo anyway. The tattoo was small and barely visible, that was her defense. But I knew it was there, and that was enough. It was also very visible during intimacy, sorry for the TMI. We argued about the tattoo until we eventually said enough hurtful things that could never be unsaid. Clearly, the tattoo was worth losing me because it's still there, and I'm not.